Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sora Darkchild, and welcome back to Let's Replay the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. Last time, on our second half of the second day investigation, we learned a lot of things that were happening. One, we learned about the recap of the DL6 incident, learned that Miss Duxton, apparently connected to this incident, is actually Maya Fey's mother. What? Then we learn through another case that apparently Dahlia Hawthorne, despite being dead, is involved in this case because Pearl Fey's mother instructed her to carry out the plans to murder Maya and have her, an innocent 9-year-old girl, to channel the deceased older sister of hers. That way she would unwittingly kill her cousin to make her family the main branch line of the Fey clan. Ugh. The things the parent does with their child. Today's trial that we're gonna be going into is gonna be a doozy. February 10th, 2019, 9:39 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Good morning! Oh, are you by yourself? Ah, morning, Pearls. Mr. Nick, please tell me, what's going to happen to Mystic Maya? I'm sorry, we don't know yet. The investigation's still going on, so I wasn't allowed in the inner temple. Oh, I see. So is Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick locks in the training hall? No. She's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. She's required to be here in court. Then, how come she's not here in the defendant's lobby? I have to admit, it's kinda strange. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby. Oh, that was Edgeworth. Edgeworth? What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Wait, what? The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession, or so I heard. Franziska von Karma, what are you up to? I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today. What? Then who is? Who else would it be but Godot? Godot. Franziska is engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cavern. The Sacred Cavern? You don't mean that she's... Exactly. She has been out there all night trying to remove those trick locks. With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly and we receive some good news soon. Yeah, thanks, Edgeworth. Prosecutor Goda intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. Touché. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden, frantic maniac you were yesterday. It's strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all of this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you've passed your cold on to someone else, literally. And with that, I leave the rest in your capable hands, partner. Thanks. I still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. The circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise Duxnim's... No, I mean Miss Misty Fey. The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after. I will solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to end. February 10th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 7. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris of the Hosakura Temple. Your Honor? What are you... Who, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot. My poor brother. He looked a bit pale, not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. It is impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. Well said, Mr. Goda. I understood exactly what you said, at least up until the end anyway. Now then, Mr. Goda, please proceed with your opening statement. Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There is only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug. So then you mean, forget it. What do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hosakura Temple has a confession to make. Confession? The defendant? Iris. Why didn't she discuss this with me first? Very well. This court will now hear from the defendant's confession. Upon hearing a beautiful lady, always ask her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Hasakura Temple.
Witness, is there something that you want to confess to?
Yes, but first, I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore.
It's alright. What is it?
Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in the terrible incident.
Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who killed Miss Elise Duxnam?
No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise and carried it to Hasakura Temple courtyard, where I described it.
What? Order in the court! Order! Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder?
Yes, that's correct.
What? 3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat. Huh. Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. It just happens to be that, in this case, it's to murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Trite? Goda. So this is the confessing they were conferring about. It pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris's testimony was all a lie. Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? Iris was covering for someone? Nah. Now I'm definitely up a creek without a paddle. Or a life jacket!
I've been at Hasakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hasakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Kirin tradition. One of our mission is to protect the main family.
I'm sorry, but main family?
Yes, that's why I would dirty myself, need it be, to protect her. The daughter of the master of the Kirin channeling technique, Mystic Maya Fey.
Huh? Wake up and smell the coffee, Trite. She's naming Maya? Order! Order in the court! So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer?
I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. And then I cleaned out the area to try to protect her.
That's ridiculous! Maya could never. The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
I thought I was prepared for the unexpected, but I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. The real murderer.
I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mrs. Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for that.
So it was in self-defense?
Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya.
You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Isn't that right? Not bad. You've got the instincts of a true criminal.
Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. And that person who did it was that woman. Iris even admitted it.
Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
I went to the inner temple that night, and I saw it all happen in the garden. Sister Iris, your testimony changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple.
Did she now? Too bad for you. What she said yesterday didn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go?
I was in the inner temple's training hall.
A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay. What do you have to say, witness?
I just couldn't tell him the truth at that time. Mystic Maya, she's your girlfriend, isn't she? I didn't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder.
There. We all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you witness in the temple garden?
Well, Your Honor, I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff.
You're saying that the victim attacked Maya? I mean, Miss Faye?
Yes, it was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse.
What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you go and stop them from fighting?
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak. I was in such shock.
That's perfectly understandable, my dear.
That doesn't sound right. I don't believe this testimony for a minute.
What happened after that?
While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike.
She moved in to deliver a fatal strike?
Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon.
Wait a minute. What was this weapon?
It was some kind of dagger.
A dagger, huh? And at least Duxton tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Fey?
Yes, exactly.
Huh. You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce. Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? Do I have a problem with Iris's testimony? There is one thing. Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony. You do? But this witness is your own client. Yes, well, nevertheless... That's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a moment. That's my job to say that. Listen, Gramps. Don't say it. I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. No! You can't speak like that to a judge. Okay, now. Let's continue.
She threw her staff away and pulled a dagger from inside her robe.
Objection!
Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events.
Huh?
Miss Duxnam throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me.
But all you can do with a staff is hit someone.
Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword.
Ah!
If Elise Duxnam really had wanted to kill Maya Fey, she wouldn't have needed to use the scripture dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? That was an impressive bit of investigating, Trite. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy, and thus quite ineffective in close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade. Well... Anyway, the type of weapon she chooses to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there is nothing strange about that, there is no problem with her testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony! Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point. Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument.
Mr. Wright?
I have another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise Duxnam would never attempt to kill Maya Fey.
Take that!
Elise Duxnam would never have attacked Maya Fey.
How can you be so sure?
Because the victim's real name was not Elise Duxnam. Her real name was Misty Fey. Miss Fey?
Ah! No! Not Misty Fey. Mystic Misty Fey.
Who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to...
Misty Fey is the master of the Kirin channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey.
Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Duxnam really the great mystic Misty?
There's no doubt about it. It looks like Iris had no idea.
I can hardly believe it.
The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen for 17 years.
Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing.
Ugh. Order in the court. Upon hearing the witness's testimony, it seems natural enough. However, in light of the facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during the fight, and two, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter. Despite the facts being believable when taken on their own, but when taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe.
Listen, there's nothing in the world that is impossible. Except for one little thing.
Yes? What is this one little impossible thing?
Huh. You still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under-roasted? But you have no idea, Gramps.
Could you get to your point?
I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee.
You're going to ruin your health, my friend.
Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty.
Is that a dagger? Heard the witness testify to seeing?
Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else?
Now that you mention it, if you look very closely, there appears to be blood on it.
Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene?
Huh? The pine tree?
This dagger was stuck in the backside of the pine tree, where the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women. This little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of a pine tree.
Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct?
Ha. Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had just taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee.
Didn't you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago?
I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice.
In any case, the court will accept this dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately.
This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right.
Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Now then, the testimony we just heard, numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found a very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible.
Cute girls never lie.
Ever. In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About what, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff. But then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defense, with her back on the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling a knife away, but then she collapsed.
That's a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore?
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff. Iris, where were you standing when you witnessed all this? What do you mean? Well, if either of them have noticed you, they might not have continued their battle. I wonder if that's true. The two of them, they were standing near the garden stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. It was dark where the two of them were, so I think that's why they didn't notice me.
So it was dark in the garden when the murder took place. Tell me, what did Maya Fey do after she was struck?
But then she dodged Mystic Elise's attack and stole her weapon.
What happened to the victim's staff then?
I'm not sure. The area was very dark, so I couldn't really see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated.
That makes sense. That would explain the need of the dagger.
Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike, but Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. The dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground. And then at some point, Mystic Maya picked it up.
Nothing sounds especially strange yet. What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her?
Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defense, with her back at the stone lantern.
You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim?
Yes. But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger.
I still can't believe it. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point, it's just silly. As they say, a corner fox is more dangerous than a jackal. I believe the correct head description of a corner fox is scared and petrified. Your animal analogies have grown tiresome. You were the one who started it! Anyway, so after Maya Fey, he backed the victim to the stone lantern. What happened next?
That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise.
Objection!
Something about, oh, you just isn't right today, Iris. Huh? Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions. What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony? According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct? Yes, that's right. But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, correct?
Yes, I think so.
But, according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony.
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
It's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. You get my drift?
Is that all you have to say?
I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind. Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? The point is too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throw away the useful staff, the people fighting being a mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims that the victim was stabbed in the stomach.
There certainly are some inconsistencies.
Well, Iris, how about it? Well, it's just... If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee. But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what these witnesses actually said?
Prosecutor Goda, explain yourself.
The witness was quite unambiguous. It's about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light.
Light?
By the way, did you know Hazakura has a rule that on nights when the acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern is the garden must be kept lit? I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for.
Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly?
Normally, yes, Your Honor, but according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern.
Impossible?
It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to be nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all.
Most enlightening.
Yes, that illuminating fact has ceased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, right?
No! No!
Order! 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 Here, Your Honor. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind.
Why is the judge just sitting there with a look on his face?
What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot?
This lantern, there's something written on it. Why, it's written in blood! No, boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet?
Written in blood?
It says Maya upside down!
What the?
Oh, yes, that's right. After becoming cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body.
It certainly looks that way.
Hang on just a minute.
What are you all talking about? What do you mean, what are we all talking about? We're talking about the message written in blood.
Nonsense. This lantern is as clean as a whistle. Could it be?
He can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday.
My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We now know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Goda, anything further? Mr. Goda?
Okay then, let's move on.
Goda is literally shaking, and somehow I don't think it's from the caffeine overdose. I believe it has now been established that Miss Duxnam was killed by Maya Fey. That's just wrong!
Now it's time to turn our attention to you.
Yes, sir.
After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears. Sister Iris's cover-up.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Kirin channeling tradition. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and... I used the Shikashito to alter the way the wound looked.
So, you moved the body?
Yes. I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fae clan. But even so, I never imagined that Elise Duxnam was actually Misty Fae. I've committed a terrible sin.
A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for twist of fate, Your Honor.
I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body. But...
You were spotted by the head nun, correct?
Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back.
Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya.
So you waited until everything was over before making a move?
No, it's not like that.
She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid. Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless I can just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion. Isn't that your job, as a judge, to meditate the argument? Meditate the argument?
It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. I thought it was my duty to protect the future of the Kirin tradition.
So then you knew? You knew who the significance of the name Maya Fey?
Yes, of course I did.
That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position.
Anyway, she was a very special person indeed. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body at the crime scene.
And you moved her body all by yourself?
Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it wasn't for the snow.
The snow, huh?
I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge.
Pretty amazing you could make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge.
It looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age.
It's like they say, idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold. But there's no other thing but there's one other thing that bothers me. Why not just throw the body into Eagle River? It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Hasakura Temple.
I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible.
Huh. Makes perfect sense to me. For the time being. Anyway, what did you do after you crossed the bridge?
Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to the Hasakura Temple and...
The snowmobile? I knew that would show up sooner or later.
Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hasakura Temple. From Hasakura Temple to Dusky Bridge.
This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? How about the tracks? If you really did move her body by a snowmobile, then should there be tracks left in the snow? Right? Well, yes. Naturally, you would expect tracks. This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride?
Yes, I think they are.
But I can only see one set of tracks here.
I don't see what's so strange about that. The snow was still falling when I left Hasakura Temple.
I see. Snow was still falling, huh?
And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony? Very important, Your Honor. When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped? That doesn't make sense, hence if you stack it up against the other evidence. Your Honor? I'd like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony. What? Does it have something to do with this case? All will be made clear if you allow her statement to be added to the record. Huh. This should be fun. Let's get this snow business cleared up, shall we?
Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow already stopped.
Objection!
What? Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. It does? I don't see anything contradictory. Huh? Really? Objection denied. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright. Whoops, that didn't go too well. Okay, so I made a mistake. It was here that I needed to present that.
Objection!
You claim that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred? But I'm sorry, Iris. but that just isn't possible.
What?
This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50 p.m. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time.
Why do you say that?
Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and it caught on fire.
What did you say? The bridge? It was on fire?
You don't mean to say you didn't know about that? It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down.
What? But it can't be. It can't be.
It looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney.
No!
Order! 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 The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right. The inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way you could have crossed the bridge, body or no body. Witness, even my patience has its limits. Any further lying and I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself? The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Old man. Me? How dare you? Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now. Squat? The important thing now is to find out the truth. Isn't that right? Yes, of course, but... Whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge was burning or not, there are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Elise Duxnam was discovered in the Hasakura Temple courtyard. And second, the head nun, Sister Bikini, witnessed Iris discreting the Elise Duxnam's body. He makes a good point on both accounts.
That's right. I'm not lying.
What are you claiming this time?
I wasn't myself at all that night. So my memory is still somewhat hazy.
You have stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory that night was hazy? It is only human to err. If you're so perfect right, maybe you can explain this for the court? What is it? When the murder happened, the bridge had already burnt down. But somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found at the temple courtyard. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick? Well, not exactly, no. I know there must be some other way she got across that burnt out bridge. But unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth. It looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation. You see what I mean? In other words, you're in no position to suggest that this lady's testimony isn't the truth. Alright then, witness. Let's hear your testimony once more.
About what, Your Honor?
You've admitted that you've moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
Will this be your final testimony? Moving the body.
Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. So I must have just gotten confused, I guess. Was the snow still falling, or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Or are you saying that there is a way to cross the burning bridge?
So it was just a misunderstanding, I see. This is a photo of Dusky Bridge after it burned down from the lightning blast. It was taken on the morning of the incident. It certainly was burned to a crisp, and one of the suspension wires even snapped. It's amazing the whole thing didn't fall. Clearly, it would be impossible to carry a corpse across the bridge in this condition. Unless I do something to discredit this testimony, it's going to be deemed as the truth. And Maya will be accused of murder. Again. Trite. I'm only going to say it one more time. It is only human to err. And only humans can spot errors of our way. The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes. Alright, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final cross-examination.
Other than walking the bridge, over the bridge, there's no way to move the body.
Objection!
A dead body flying over a burning bridge. I wouldn't exactly rule out that possibility. What? Huh. You're saying it's possible? Don't make me laugh. The only thing that's possible about your claim is that it's been pulled out of thin air. I don't know about that. In any case, we have an eyewitness who did see it happen. Preposterous. Who is it? Who is this witness? I can't chicken out here. I've gotta keep on the attack and go, go, go! Miss Elise Stuxnem's brilliant and highly gifted apprentice, Lawrence Stuxnem. Brilliant? Highly gifted.
Apprentice?
Remember what he said in his testimony? That night he was at the Mountain Shack, Heavenly Hall. And that's when he witnessed the event. I think you've all seen this sketch before. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed that night. Are you serious? Today's not April Fool's Day, is it? Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? are you using this pathetic scribble to support your argument? Uh-oh. The judge looks like he's about to blow a gasket. Huh. Well, Trite, there's nowhere for you to hide now. Other than looking at it was a drawing by a 6-year-old. Does this sketch prove anything? Yes, I'm pretty sure it does, and I'm going to prove it. Listen, I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down. If you're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with this sketch? Upside down? Why did Godot say that? Alright then, let's hear the defense's theory. What exactly is this sketch trying to show? I don't think old Whiskerface is going to forgive me any more mistakes. Alright, Phoenix, looking carefully and think it over. This sketch drawn by Lawrence Duxnam is... exactly what happened. Of course, the victim was flying through the air. You can see it right there in the sketch. Whoosh! You know, you're starting to remind me of yesterday's witness. What? That was the last thing I wanted to hear. Do you have any evidence hints that the victim flew through the air? Just so you know, we haven't discovered a giant human catapult at the inner temple yet. Ugh, I wish they had. Even if you're a lousy lawyer, at least you're 1 cup's worth of entertainment. I think we should skip the penalty this time. There must be some way. I just know it. There must be a way to use Larry's sketch to show the truth of what happened. Alright then. The witness will now return to her testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah. Oh boy. Maybe if I suggest the sketch again?
Objection!
I can't believe we're looking at this again. I admit that I didn't really understand it before, but I get it now. That's why I believe this sketch shows the truth. Very well. Alright then, let's hear the defense's theory. What exactly of this sketch is trying to show? I didn't think old Whiskerface is going to forgive any more mistakes. Alright, Phoenix. Look carefully and think it over. This sketch drawn by Lawrence Duxnam is a complete contradiction. Something is obviously funny about this sketch. I'm no art critic, Hicks, but even I can see that. No, that's not what I mean, Your Honor. Lawrence Duxnam stated it over and over. That this sketch was exactly what he saw. However, if we were to believe his testimony, then the sketch contradicts reality as we know it.
It contradicts reality?
Huh. This is getting interesting. Looks like you're her back to that finger pointing thing again. Okay, Trey. So exactly where is the contradiction?
Take that!
There. It's this wire connected to the bridge. The wire? Huh. Isn't that thing that is that the thing that contradicts reality? It is indeed. Then show us the reality it supposedly contradicts with. Show us something that will point out how the sketch contradicts reality.
Take that!
That's a photo of Dusky Bridge, correct? Yes. Now compare the sketch and the photo for a minute. In the sketch, the wires appear to be above the ground wires. But on the actual Dusky Bridge, Jumping Jehoshaphat, the wires are below the guard wires. Phew, what? Order, order, order! This sketch is somewhat different from what depicted in the photo. However, isn't it likely that the artist saw it wrong?
Or perhaps he just drew it wrong?
Either way, it sounds like you're just wrong. With someone like Larry, I admit a mistake is a definite possibility. But that begs the question. Why did he make a mistake? And what was the reason? Are you saying you know the answer to that? Listen, think back, alright? Remember what Lawrence was doing when he witnessed this event. He was at Heavenly Hall waiting for a lover that was never going to come. He waited and waited, and finally he laid down. But then, lightning shoots from the sky and sets the bridge aflame. Now, ponder what sort of position Lawrence must have been in at that time. He was laying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did. He was lying on his back? I can't see how it relates. But it does, Your Honor. That is the reason why the wires in the sketch are go up instead of down. Whoa! No way. Lawrence Stuxnet witnessed the event while he was lying on his back face up. In other words, the scene he saw was actually upside down. So then, this sketch should actually... I think you finally get it, Your Honor. The correct way to view Lawrence Stuxnet's sketch is like this. This is how it actually look. The victim's body wasn't flying above the bridge. It was actually swinging below. That's right. just like a pendulum. Ridiculous. Order! Of all things to say, a pendulum? The bridge was burning to a crisp. There was no way to get across. But if the body had been found at the inner temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. They used the burning bridge to get the body across the other side. And a pendulum was the only way to get it done. Let's think about this for a minute, shall we? Dusky Bridge is about 20 yards long, which means it's about that far from the inner temple to the opposite cliff. Yes, that sounds right. In order her to cover that distance with the pendulum, you need a rope of at least 10 yards long. You get a rope that long, you have a plan ahead. To get a rope that long, you have to plan ahead. The lightning struck that night can only have been an accident. So, it doesn't make sense that the culprit would have prepared the rope beforehand. So then, they didn't have to get the rope ready. The rope was already right in front of them. What? I'm saying that it was just a matter of using what was already there. In that case, Mr. Wright, please give us an explanation to support your theory. What makes you think the criminal who had the rope on and to create a pendulum? What else?
Take that!
And the meaning of this is... If you want to know where the rope came from, it's hanging right there in front of your glorious beard. Ah! This is one of the wires from the bridge! When the lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire, one of the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste, so they tied the wire around Miss Elise Duxnem's body. Because there was simply no other way to move the body. Huh. Mr. Goda. It seems that Mr. Goda is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. It seems that the odds of a rope being readily available were very high. So I suppose that it's not an impossibility after all. Possible or impossible? That's not the question we need to ask. There's only one question. Did that really happen? Trite, I wonder if you could prove what happened to us. Do you have any actual evidence that the body was swung from the pendulum? Yeah. Try this. Before I present my evidence, let me review what we know so far. According to this photo, one of the wires snapped.
Looking at the map, we can see it was the one that was in front of the inner temple.
So then, that was the spot where the criminal...
Yes, precisely. Now let us consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map again. If the body was pushed from this point of here, it would drop on the opposite bank at approximately this point.
Did you say drop?
Well, they must have failed to catch the body on the other bank. What? What made you think something like that happened? Because I have evidence that suggests that her body was dropped some distance. What kind of evidence? Take a look at this autopsy report. It says here that her body fell about 10 feet after her death.
10 feet, huh?
That's most likely the height difference between the two sides. The body overswung due to the forward momentum, but then came loose and fell about 10 feet. And then, as a result of the landing impact, this crystal sphere was not loose. That's... Yes, it's blood-stained amethyst crystal. It's the one that came off of Miss Duxnim's staff. And even more important is the place where this crystal sphere was found.
Indeed. I believe it's already marked on this overhead map. The crystal was found... Ah!
Precisely, Your Honor. In the very spot where the pendulum would arrive, if given the right momentum of speed.
This explains your theory quite well, Mr. Wright. You have provided us with a way the body could have been moved that night. An impressive deduction, Mr. Wright. Most impressive. Mr. Wright!
I thought this cold coffee might help you cool down.
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Godot?
That was a dark and bitter guess that you made, Trite. But you forgot about one thing.
Oh, and what would that be?
The aroma. Huh? A coffee's most reliable accompanying is its deep and profound aroma. The rest of the court doesn't speak Coffinese. Can you elaborate a bit more? If the criminal had sent the body to the other side, like you say, then naturally, there must have been an accomplice lying in wait to catch it.
An accomplice?
The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge. So, who collected the body? What do you have to say about that, Trite?
Mr. Godot is correct. This can't be the work of a single person. Well, Mr. Wright, do you know what you must do?
Yes, Your Honor. The body couldn't have been moved to Hasakura Temple without an accomplice.
Very well then. If you please, Mr. Wright. Who was the person that received the body on the Asakura Temple side?
Take that!
Well, Mr. Godot? I'm sure you have something to say.
Oops!
That aroma just now.
It smelled of sulfur.
Perhaps it was your chances of winning rotting away.
I can't get my facts all mixed up like this. After the accomplice received the body, they carried it to Hazakura Temple. Then they altered it by using the Shikashito. There's only one person it can be.
Mr. Wright, please don't stare at me like that. It's creepy. Very well then. If you please, Mr. Wright. Who was the person that received the body at Asakura Temple?
Take that!
It can only be you, Sister Iris.
Huh? But
I don't see why you're so surprised. The only way to transport the body from Dusky Bridge is by snowmobile. And with her bad back, Sister Bikini could never pick up a body like that. You're the only one that could have managed it.
Trite, were you even listening to the witness's testimony? On the night of the crime, this little cutie pie was on cleanup duty in the inner temple garden after the mother-daughter bloodbath.
I haven't forgotten, but have you, Mr. Godot? This witness was also seen at Hazakura Temple. Desecrating the corpse of the victim. Desecrating the corpse of the victim.
Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in different places at the same time.
Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony? Mention what? The pendulum, of course. Using this sketch drawn by the eyewitness, I have established how the body was moved using the burned-out bridge. Which means it's now a fact that this occurred. Something you should have already known. No, I have no idea. I didn't know anything about a pendulum. But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help. So you should have known about it. In fact, it'd be impossible for you to be clueless about this whole thing. Unless you're not really Iris to begin with. What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright?
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this eyewitness isn't Iris of Asakura Temple?
Are you serious, Trite?
You mean this woman is...
There's no one besides Iris that could have received the corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach this whole time. Why her whole demeanor changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. That woman that's standing there in the witness stand, her real name is...
Take that!
I never thought I'd have to utter your name again, let alone see you. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne.
Hawthorne? Sister Iris had a twin sister. And you're looking at her. Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
That name rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless.
Huh. It's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh yes, I remember now. That case, 5 years ago.
My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence.
The honor is all mine.
No, the honor is all mine. But according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. It says her execution was carried out last month.
So what? Death has no meaning in this courtroom.
What? Order! Order! Order!
Wait a moment. How can you... My sister, she's already dead. What kind of...
You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the curing channeling technique flows within that body.
The curing channeling technique? Now, where have I heard that?
That's right. You're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia, currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone? On the very night of the murder, to a temple where her twin sister Iris was. Well, if you're going to put things that way, then yes! We're supposed to believe the coincidence? Things like that just happens? Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written here in these instructions.
Ah, what's that?
These are instructions written by your mother, Morgan Fay. And part of the plan called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Hasakura Temple. 2 of them? Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, in other words, 10 p.m., however, Iris was seen before dinner time.
That means the Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris.
And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that the Iris Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple was someone else dressed as her, namely one Dahlia Hawthorne. Do you really know what you're saying, Trite? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business? Yes, it's true that you found plans that talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris. What? calm down and remember what you know about the night of the crime. After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to the lightning strike. It was later heard that the body was moved by a pendulum. That's right. Naturally, that would mean that the Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far? Yes. After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hazakura Temple's main hall. There, they found Iris in her room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center. Yes, I suppose. I can't deny any of that.
Phew, thank goodness. It looks like he's finally convinced.
But something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the Iris here is the same one from the other night. Huh. I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous. Like the real Iris is the spirit of Dahlia? Somehow switched places. Switch places? To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we can't continue with this trial. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia. Which means they must have switched places somewhere. Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she was arrested at Asakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places in Dahlia Hawthorne? There is one. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance. Oh, explain yourself. Yesterday, for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown. Unknown? What do you mean? What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely unsupervised. Well, who was it? Who would give a murderer suspect time to move about freely like that? I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris the chance to freely move about was...
Take that!
This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it?
Your Honor, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not?
An earthquake?
Earthquake! Oh my goodness, the inner temple! This kind of tremor might...
How could I have? She fled. She escaped. We went to the inner temple right away. And it's true, Iris was already there. However, she had already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne.
That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here. No judge in his right mind would consider...
Be quiet. It's been a long time, Mr. Judge.
That voice!
I guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
Dahlia Hawthorne. And my current possession? Permanently retired.
Huh. So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore, huh?
Why should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me.
What is going on here?
Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought we'd meet again, and I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it. For her and for myself. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now in today's episode of Let's Replay Ace Attorney Trilogy. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment if you want, ring the bell to be notified when our next video comes out. We do new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and occasionally Saturday and Sundays. Till the next video, this is Sora Darkchild, signing off. Have a good night, folks.